Welcome to our first drive of the new Hummer EV SUV.
That's right. When I was a kid, I used to have like G.I. Joe and anime toys and all that. That kind of reminded me of the way this is designed. I think these things look really cool, but there's a lot going on because we've had the pickup truck version of this and it was awesome, but it wasn't perfect.
Yeah, and also, so this is 2024.
Right.
A whole new year.
Right.
A whole new vehicle. I know Tommy went and drove it at an event, but we are in the real world with a production version of this SUV. And we have to thank our friends at Johnson Auto Plaza here in Brighton, Colorado, because they're letting us do a test drive.
Yeah, they got a couple of these.
Yeah.
And first of all, I gotta say, I love the color. This is the first edition matte color, right?
Yes. It's beautiful.
It's really cool.
I want to open the frunk.
Yeah, check out with the lights. They do all this little crazy dance, but it still wouldn't let you go in.
Come on. Sorry, I have to talk to it in a good way.
Well, you weren't talking to it very nice. Wow, you're really not talking to it very nice. It doesn't like you at
It's
all.
still latched.
There you go.
Ah.
So what you had to do is be patient.
Hold that button.
Yeah, so you pulled a
for
Roman.
quite some while.
Okay, so there's a good sized frunk in here.
Yeah, so of course there's a charging cable for your level 1. These bags right here.
They're for the roof,
Yeah,
right?
for the roof panels.
And I believe you could stack those panels in here.
So it's kind of meant to all kind of stack away here. There's also a license plate holder. This is basically just got delivered to the dealer.
Yeah.
So it's kind of in its fresh state.
Which means we're not allowed to do donuts or go do like large jumps.
But we can crab walk, I'll
Yeah.
bet you.
Crabwalk, yeah.
So the wheelbase is actually about 9 inches shorter than the truck. And because you know, this front and rear door are about the same, right?
Yeah.
But the truck has kind of a longer bed here in the back.
So because of that, its approach, departure, and most importantly, breakover angle
Are amazing.
Yeah, well, the approach angle is about the same as the truck. It's the breakover and the departure angle that are very different than the pickup. And that's something that's worth noting. I'd recommend checking out the back door because it's a cool thing. I didn't know about the push button setup in that.
Yeah.
Which is super cool.
So there's a couple ways of opening the rear door as well. So there's a button here. There's also a button on my key fob. So from my key fob, Nathan, I could open the frunk or the rear hatch, and I can also power up the vehicle if I wanted to.
Right.
But you could push this. Aha!
Huzzah! That's a big
And also,
door.
it doesn't require me to hold the button.
Yeah.
It works a little bit more seamless.
Well, I think part of that has to do with the fact that this is what you'd be opening more often than not.
Yeah.
And there's something else that's really cool about this.
What?
That window.
This?
Yeah. It drops, it lowers. Kind
Well,
of like a Forerunner. So,
or a Sequoia, older Sequoias, not the current one, but the older one.
right. So this vehicle, although you lose utility because this door that opens outward, I've had vehicles like this before. If you have some long object in there, you can't drive like this, but you can lower this, close the door, and have stuff sticking out of the back, so that helps with the utility.
So we'll show that in a second.
Yeah.
This floor is kind of high, right? So the vehicle is kind of in its normal height. It does have height adjustability, but there's a little bit of storage here below the floor, and actually decent room. And look at this. You can fold the seats.
Nearly flat, not entirely though. Also, something important to keep in mind, the way that these are latched, they're not built for reclining. You can see here that there's just one anchor, and it just anchors to that point, and it won't move. And also, they don't slide forward and back.
And this reminds me of the old H2 we used to have, Nathan, because it had similar kind of side areas here in the rear cargo section, and it feels familiar to me.
Yeah, I have to take one thing back, Andre. I just discovered something.
What?
There is a 2-setting thing here for slight recline.
Let's walk around and see it.
Yeah. So when you grab, you can either latch it 1 inch in or 1 inch out. I don't know if you can see over my shoulder, but if you grab, there it is, open. There's one setting, and there's the other setting.
Oh, a little bit of recline.
Right, but
Okay.
it won't slide back and forth.
Okay, I gotcha. So let me try to use the key fob to close this hatch, the rear tailgate, I should say. And I don't know why they chose it in this orientation,
Oh, I do.
opening towards that side.
Because they don't want you having access to the curb. There we go.
For some
All
reason,
right.
the key fob wasn't liking me.
Yeah. Okay. So that is a problem. Once again, something that I've experienced, and it's unusual. You would think that what they would do is have the door open this way,
Yes.
out towards traffic.
Sure.
So you would have access to the curb or whatever you're bringing
Yeah.
this cargo out.
Yeah.
So why did they do that? Roman knows. Tommy knows.
Roman, can you please tell us? Well, no.
If any of you guys have a clue as to why they decided to hinge it on that side, let us know.
So, I would say the customer base of this vehicle probably doesn't carry a lot of cargo on a street.
Beverly Hills rich people need to get in and out of their vehicle so they can bring their
Louis Vuittons.
$8,000 little vase out to some person, right? So when this door opens, as I will demonstrate once again by pushing the button.
They take the vase.
Okay, now that BMW, or no, what am I saying, BMW? That G-Wagon that was parked right here just got snaggered, but I'm pretty sure that this door, if it feels impact, will probably close again. So now you have your $8,000 vase, and you have to go around and hopefully squeeze between whatever's been behind you. Dude, that's like 4 feet.
It is a large space.
So you have to really keep that in mind. It's kind of a problem, but that window goes down. So now,
let me do that. So close the door. Let me power this up and let me open the glass.
yes, you could just close the door. You don't have to push the buttons. Here we go. All right. So now you're wearing your overpriced Birkenstocks.
Yeah.
And
So now you could reach in, grab the vase like this, and take it out.
how many Beverly Hills wives, moms,
And husbands,
and husbands are as tall as you are with long arms?
not many.
Probably not that many.
Dude, basketball players.
You're-
They have longer arms than me.
wow, LeBron, your vehicle is here.
It is cool. It is cool that
It
the
is
window
cool that you
rolls
have
down.
that, but you understand my issue with this thing
Yeah.
swinging out this way, right?
Also, four-wheel steering, height adjustable suspension, Crabwalk mode.
Which
that-
we've used
that-
before.
Yes, and we can demonstrate that now. I
Why
can
don't you
jump
do it right
in
now?
there.
Hop in, do it.
Yeah,
I'll stay
me-
on the outside. You go
Yeah,
ahead and do it.
guys, stay on the outside, and
And I shall describe what's happening. Now, first of all, this is a height adjustable suspension. You can get up to 16 inches of ground clearance, I believe, which is pretty remarkable. And you're able to do it silently, or relatively silently. So I'm going to move out of the way because I just don't know how crazy Ivan's going to drive. Are you seriously turning on the radio? There we go. Can you see the rear wheels, what they're doing? Yeah, you can really see it there. That's cool. Why don't you make a circle?
Okay, so that was crab. Did
Crab.
you see it, crab?
Yes, we saw crab.
Okay, now I'm going to disable the crab mode,
Uh-huh.
and I'm going to make a circle.
Yes.
Okay, so let me try that. Maneuverability.
This is even more maneuverable than the truck version because, once again, shorter wheelbase. If you could see, they are. I think it's 9 degrees or 8 degrees. I don't think it's 10 degrees like Mercedes, but the rear wheels most certainly are popping. There you go. You can see that from that angle clearly.
Yeah, so actually this feels great. It's
This
really
is
maneuverable.
when you're parking at that mall. This is what you want.
Once again, the Rodeo Drive, right? You're
right.
really parking really well.
Yeah, now I know we're making fun of a lot of people, but come on, let's face it. How many people are actually going to be buying something that costs, can we say it now?
$119,000.
That is a lot of dough for an off-roader.
All right,
But
come
it
in.
looks really cool. Oh, but can I show them one more thing?
What?
Right there's American flag, that is. Yeehaw! It's kind of a cool little Easter egg. Why don't we hop in and take a little
jump
ride?
In, let's go for a drive. Let me grab the camera for a second. So we are kind of used to this because we did have the truck, right?
Yep. Is that back window up?
No, not yet. That's why it's kind of chilly in here. But I did turn on your
Oh, I
heated
want to show
seat.
this. So, if you guys ever get your hands on one of these, now bear in mind, yes, it is an Ultium platform vehicle, and we've driven several now.
Yes.
Completely different internals, right? None of this electronics exists on like the Blazer that I drove recently, or the Honda,
Or the switchgear. I mean,
none of
this
this.
is unique
It's
to Hummer.
very unique to
Yeah.
Hummer. Okay, so you want to turn on your seat,
Yes.
your heated seat.
No.
So this is a button down here.
Okay.
Now what that does is that correlates now to the buttons below it.
Okay.
So this now controls the heated seat.
Or you could ventilate it too, or cool it.
If I ventilate it now, I will freeze to the seat. It's kind of cold. Okay, so all of these controls, you can mess with them, and then what happens is, see, I could stop it, or in this case,
Full fan.
kind of interesting though the way that this whole system works. It takes a little bit of getting used to. I kind of wish it was a little bit simpler, but you know, at least these are independent switch gear, as opposed to having to go into this screen.
So I do have cruise control, Nathan. Mm-hmm. I do have actually Super Cruise.
Super Cruise.
Yes, you could see this designator, and also the infrared camera that's watching my eyes. And everything is bronze accented, which is...
I think it's kind of cool. It kind of has a steampunk feel to it.
This is my crab mode activation.
Uh-huh.
And also, I believe this guy could be your mode, your mission. I don't have a mission right now, so I'm okay.
What if I turn this? Does it do different missions?
I think it does modes.
There it goes.
Try it again.
There's trailer. There's normal. There's a dude with the steering wheel. My mode.
Yeah. So speaking of towing and going off-road, this SUV is capable of up to 7,500 pounds of towing. Mm-hmm. So it's basically very similar to the truck, and about 1,050 pounds of payload.
Okay.
Not a lot.
Not a lot.
And there's my button to control the rear glass. It just closed. And this vehicle, with 1,000 pounds of payload and 9,990 gross vehicle weight rating, it means the curb weight is about 8,900 pounds, which is hefty.
It's not as heavy as the pickup,
No.
which makes sense because the pickup is larger, but it's still pretty heavy. And with us in here, we're over 9,000 pounds.
And also, the suspension is pretty soft. It's pretty comfy.
In its normal mode, it is,
Yeah.
but once you start using the off-road modes and lift it up a little bit, things tend to tighten up a little bit.
It will change with
Yeah,
height. Yeah.
it will indeed. Now, granted, the one that we had, and I'm going to try to be fair to General Motors, because I know people have yelled at me for being grumpy about it. General Motors, ours was one of the first, like one of the very first
Oh, yeah.
that we had.
Early.
Yeah, a super early model, so there were bugs and everything else. We tend to do that. That's, by the way, one of my favorite features. 3 windshield wipers, baby.
Yes. It's like the FJ Cruiser.
FJ, right.
Yes.
That's the only way you can effectively clean a windshield like this, because
It's really
low, right, and wide.
not very tall.
Exactly. But they supposedly, a lot of the bugs that they had, some issues that they've had, they've worked out. It's supposed to be much better now. And this short drive, we're not going to be able to tell you whether or not that's happened. However, the vehicle still is a little buggy, I can tell you that. You know how I know?
How?
That front hatch wasn't working very well for us.
No, it was not. But maybe it was my user error.
Your user error. Come on, it's a hatch. It should be like click to open, click to close.
It should be much more simple.
Come on.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Okay, but with all that being said, I gotta say this thing has street presence like nothing else.
No, I agree. And also, only 830 horsepower in this one.
Only.
So the truck, of course, the edition one had 1,000 horsepower. This has a little bit less battery, but still, see, dual lockers.
Yeah.
So rear and front and rear. And I'm hoping to do a small acceleration, if that's okay with you.
That's fine with me. Quick question for you, though.
Yes.
You were the only one at TFL that went to the Rivian R1S event. Doesn't that compete directly with this?
Yes.
Damn. I forgot that these things really get
And it also, like, sits down in the rear.
It sits down and then, that's how it shifts its weight to
Yeah.
keep that traction over the rear wheels when there's, and you just brake a little tiny bit. You hear that a little tiny sound. So here's the question: the R1S, third row seat. This does not have one.
Exactly. R1S is also very quick.
Yeah.
It's got 4 motors. It's got similar power output to this SUV by
Yes.
Hummer, and the R1S weighs less. So it's an interesting conundrum, right?
Yeah.
So the Hummer SUV, I think they probably have all about the same footprint, although the Hummer SUV feels wider, like you and I are just sitting really comfortably here.
I think that it may be a little, the Rivian might be a little bit narrower and a little bit smaller altogether.
Yeah.
Although the wheelbase, I think, on that thing is just as long as this, if not even longer.
Exactly, and of course, one pedal drive is here. It does have 400 volt or 800 volt system, right?
Yeah, this is one of the fastest charging vehicles out there. If you can find a charger
that works,
that charges at that rate.
And they still have the not the NACS plug, but the J72. There's so many standards these days.
I know. Well, so
1776
right.
is a revolution.
Yeah, I know, I screwed up. I always do. But the point is that this setup, I believe General Motors is or should be on board to switch over to NACS soon. Am I correct?
Yeah, there will be.
In addition, right now, Ford is the first, but other large automakers are going to be getting a box for a converter, so you can go to a Tesla charger and just plug in and go.
Yeah, in fact, some Ford customers are already doing that.
That's exactly
with little adapters.
Yes. So I would imagine this should be right behind. Right?
I'm trying to play with my regen mode. It does have several regen levels, so you can do one pedal driving if you wanted to.
I really do like the roof panels.
Oh,
They're cool.
man,
They're very futuristic.
And we talked about removing them and storing them in the front. But they are, a little bit see-through. When we had our truck, because we've done several road trips in our Hummer EV truck.
Right.
The thing about this roof panels are, and I think they may have improved it, there was a little bit of wind noise coming through the front of it.
At least right now I'm not hearing a thing.
Let's accelerate to about 65 on this highway.
Yeah.
And see if there's any wind noise.
Yeah, this won't have a problem with accelerating, is what I was trying to say.
No.
What do you think about the screen size? I like it.
It's good, yeah.
Something so wide as this one, having a big screen is not a big deal.
Schedule activating off-road experience. Let me see, maps. Okay, we have a clear shot.
It's kind of like a Disney ride.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, it just feels like something that's like, it's like a simulator. Yes. Right? The way it leans back and it just kind of heaves.
It leans back and there's this little bit auditory sound that they're playing.
Yeah. It's an interesting sensation, I gotta say that.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Actually, not a lot of road noise or wind noise.
I'm not hearing it here, I'm hearing it back there. And bear in mind that, once again, it's battery electric vehicle as such, you don't have any engine noise, so what you're hearing is really
everything else.
Yeah, everything else. But it's not the quietest vehicle either. I think that Ford Lightning that we had was one of the quietest electric vehicles.
And I think I mean, the fact that the removable panels.
This might be part of it, and the square shape of this thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, remember it's got the lights out there on the hood.
Yeah, those
too.
create a little bit of turbulence
I bet you
too.
those are creating some noise.
Yeah,
But they look cool.
And you know, the Hummer EV, it doesn't make any apologies, right? It is what it is. It's square. It's big.
It's remarkably inefficient, but it has a massive battery, so that's okay.
Yeah. So, and it's not apologetic. You know, it is kind of doing its own thing.
Right.
And yeah, so very similar driving experience, except the turning I think is way better.
Yeah.
To the truck.
This feels like it has a little bit more dialed in ride, but maybe that's just me from the passenger seat.
No, it feels really comfy, actually.
Yeah.
Very, very comfy. Very nice.
So stay tuned for those of you who live in high-end neighborhoods throughout the United States. You'll start seeing a couple of these cruising around the streets here and there, along with G-Wagons.
Yeah, but the price. So this has about $13,000 of options, including the fancy beadlock capable wheels, the bronze package, the off-road package with 35s. It's got the roof rails, right? Those could be making some noise as well.
That's actually a possibility.
By the way,
yeah, I forgot about those.
They're above us.
Yeah.
And so, okay, if you subtract with $13,000 or $14,000 of options, you're still above $100K.
Yeah.
On this price. Gosh, I wish they would offer, a few more affordable ones.
Well, that's what's supposed to be happening throughout the industry. They got bit hard by the knee-jerk reaction by a lot of people out there who have decided not to buy electric vehicles.
Yes.
And I think part of that has to do with these ridiculous prices. Look what happened to Ford. Lightning prices went through the roof. And, oh, surprise, surprise, people stopped buying them. And now they cut production almost in half.
And dropping some pricing as well.
That's exactly it. So once again, a knee-jerk reaction. I will say this. This is a remarkable vehicle for what it is. It's a hell of a first effort. They did drop the ball here and there in a couple small spots, but for the most part, it still is a remarkable thing to behold, isn't it?
And it's also, you won't find something else like this. I mean, it has a very big presence to it.
Certainly does.
And it does belong on the Rodeo Drive, probably. I'm not sure how many off-road trails it will see, at least initially. But yeah, it could go off-road if you really asked it to.
Well,
as we've asked ours
several times.
Yes.
And it's had some interesting adventures. Okay, guys, tell us what you think. I mean, obviously the price is crazy, but would you own something like this? I think it's kind of cool. I mean, if you had to have an electric vehicle, would this be something you'd buy?
It's an expensive toy. Yes.
That's exactly what I would say.
All right. Thanks, guys. And alltfl.com. You can check out all the latest news in one place.